Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to Get Hit with the Truth. So today doing the what's next on the undefeated unified super bantamweight champion at 122 pounds, MJ Murodjon Ahkmadaliev, following his dominating 12th round TKO victory in a mandatory fight against former world title challenger Ronny Rios. He looked good. He absolutely broke Rios down. Went for the knockout in a fight that he was way ahead in, and finished Rios in the 12th round of that fight and retained his two belts, the WBA and IBF belts. So now the big question is what's next for MJ Murodjon Ahkmadaliev. And everybody wants to see the undisputed title fight. We'll jump right into the guys in the top 10 to let you know what potentially could happen. You know, there's Stephen Fulton Jr., the other unified champion. He holds the other two major belts. Of course, everybody wants to see undisputed, but the issue at hand is that, as I understand it, the IBF has a mandatory due for MJ, and that's Marlon Tapales. He hasn't really done anything to earn that, Tapales, but that's a mandatory that's due. Then there's Ahkmadaliev, who's the #1 contender in the WBA, and as of last year, he was named mandatory along with Ronny Rios. Like, they both were named mandatory. Ronny Rios got the first crack. So as far as I know, Ahkmadaliev should be next in line. He's been waiting around for a title shot for quite some time now. So I really don't know if that's possible for Stephen Fulton Jr. and MJ to fight for undisputed, unless the governing bodies come together and enforce their mandatories to fight each other. Ahkmadaliev versus Tapales, winner gets a crack, gets the undisputed title shot, becomes a mandatory #1 challenger for the undisputed title. I think that makes more sense. I don't know if that's what they're going to do, though. So we'll see. But as far as Stephen Fulton, right now, I think it's less than 50% that we're going to see MJ and Stephen Fulton for the undisputed title. I could be wrong. I hope they can work out a deal with their governing bodies, but that's just how I see it based on the mandatory situation for MJ Ahkmadaliev. All right, now, number 2 is MJ. Number 3 right now, Brandon Figueroa. Not likely. Figueroa is moving up to 126 in just a little over a week now. He'll fight at 126, and if he beats Carlos Castro, he's the #1 contender for the WBC belt, or that's at least how I've read it so far. He's fighting him in a WBC eliminator, with the winner should be in line for the winner of Maxayo and Vargas. But would he move back down if he loses to Castro to 122? I doubt it, because Figueroa is a big guy at 126, so I don't see him being an option for MJ next. Number 4 is Luis Nery. Not seeing this one. I think if anybody's going to land the Stephen Fulton fight, it's most likely going to be Luis Nery, because he's he's with the PBC as well. He's a highly ranked contender. He's coming off a nice win over Carlos Castro. So I think it's more likely he lands that fight with Stephen Fulton. And I don't think it's possible for MJ and him to lock horns next. Number 5 is Ahkmadaliev. Fight could possibly happen. I personally think they're probably going to do Ahkmadaliev dirty again and enforce Tapales to fight MJ next. But I really hope the fight can be made with Ahkmadaliev. That's a big fight. Ahkmadaliev's been waiting around. He's an exciting fighter. I think he's the boogeyman at 122. He's the most avoided guy. But I really hope it's Ahkmadaliev against MJ next. Next is Ionut Baluta. Not likely, because if it's not undisputed, I really think MJ is going to be fighting Stephen Fulton Jr. So I don't see that one. Number 7, a rematch with Daniel Roman. Not likely. He's coming off the loss to Stephen Fulton. There'd be no point in it. Plus, they're different promoters. Number 8, Carlos Castro. Another one. Not likely. He's with a different promoter. And again, if MJ isn't tied down to mandatories, he's likely going to fight Stephen Fulton. Number 9, Angelo Leo, and number 10, Aaron Alameda. Same thing for both of those guys. I don't believe MJ's going to fight anybody that's not a mandatory fight next. So 3 options on the table. You got the undisputed title fight with Stephen Fulton Jr., which is of course what everybody wants to see. You got dual mandatories and Azat Havanasian, former world title challenger, and Marlon Tapales, former world title challenger. If I had to pick one right now, based on what I know, I'd say they're going to enforce the IBF mandatory Marlon Tapales, probably the guy we'd least likely want to see him fight next, MJ, but that's the boxing game. So I'm hoping for Stephen Fulton. I would love to see Havanasian and MJ, but I think it's probably going to be Tapales, but hopefully the governing bodies can work something out and get MJ the undisputed title fight with Stephen Fulton Jr. next in the second half of the year. We'll see what happens. That's what's next on MJ Murodjon Ahkmadaliev following his dominating 12th round TKO victory over Ronny Rios as he retained his unified titles. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been here with the truth.